Boy, what a story on this one. Appropriately enough, and at number one, the number one song on my fantasy playlist, iconic pop alternative crossover or alternative slash pop crossover. Hey Jealousy by Gin Blossoms at number one on my fantasy playlist, October 17th, 1993. A song that would go to number 25 on Billboard's Hot 100. So I think this song was a number one period across the board, alternative and pop. Gin Blossoms. The album was called New Miserable Experience. For some reason, that sounds kind of typical for an alternative band back in the 90s to have an album called that, New Miserable Experience. And the song was actually featured on an album. It's first put on an album called Dusted back in 1989, then re-recorded for New Miserable Experience, their second album with A&M Records. Gotta talk about the guy who co-founded this group. He wrote Hey Jealousy, Doug Hopkins. He battled depression, had an alcohol problem, and he co-founded Gin Blossoms back in 1987. And 1990, now this was in Arizona. They formed in Arizona. They got a local following in 1990 in Arizona. They released an independent cassette tape and got a deal with A&M Records in 1990. But Doug Hopkins was not happy. He felt like he was just signed to a record company like a cog in the system, sort of like a slave. Just, this is not going to work. And his drinking got worse. And he was also homesick because when they started making the album New Miserable Experience, Gin Blossoms went to Memphis to record it and started drinking more. Doug Hopkins started drinking more. He was homesick. He was just very moody. Just wasn't into it. And the story has it that at one point when they were recording, he could not even stand. A&M Records, they laid a smackdown. They told the group, they said, look, you got two options. Fire Doug Hopkins or we're going to let you go. And the group fired Doug Hopkins, the guy who wrote Hey Jealousy. There's a story that he was on a one-day drunken binge. It was so bad, they smothered him. They covered him with aftershave and mouthwash before they sent Doug Hopkins back to Phoenix. And supposedly it was there that he found out that he'd been let go. He was owed $15,000, but the group did not give him that $15,000 until Doug Hopkins agreed to sign half of the publishing royalties, or give up at least half of the publishing royalties. And he was replaced by someone else. I forgot the guy's name who replaced Doug Hopkins. Boy. And here's the deal. Doug Hopkins formed another group in 1993. It was called the Chimera, or Chimeras. But he left the band. He messed up on a guitar solo and just quit the band. Like that. Just quit. Left the band. And grew increasingly despondent when Gin Blossom started to take off. And Hey Jealousy was a big hit, and Found Out About You, another big hit by them, written by Doug Hopkins. Doug Hopkins wanted a gold record. He always wanted a gold record. And they did send him a gold record. They sent him a plaque, a gold record. For Hey Jealousy, he got it. He hung it on his wall, proud of it for 2 weeks. But the depression, the melancholy overwhelmed him. And he took the gold record down and smashed it after 2 weeks. I believe it was about a week later. He bought a pistol. And the next day, well, gone. Dang. What a story. Did I miss anything? Well, the story is a little bit more complicated than that, but obviously this is just a video, so about 2 or 3 or 4 minutes. Well, anyway, song was very successful, definitely successful on my fantasy playlist. Heavy rotation on MTV. Just a great pop alternative record. Hard enough maybe to satisfy some of the alternative fans, but yet enough of a pop melody that allowed it to cross over into the mainstream. Gin Blossoms at #1 on my fantasy playlist of October 17th, 1993, and that winds down the countdown. Thank you for watching these videos. The next countdown I will do will be on my BuzzBox. I'm going to take about a week or two off and then do another countdown on my BuzzBox. Counting down a video I haven't even compiled yet. That's when I count down my new playlist. By the time I get back to this YouTube channel, probably the next fantasy playlist I will count down will probably be from the year 1989, because I have not counted down the fantasy playlist from 1989 yet, so it's due 30 years ago. Alright, well, thank you very much. Gin Blossoms at #1 on my fantasy playlist, October 17th, 1993. You take care, and I'll see you on the next countdown.